You know, there's this thing about the oil and gas companies in the news yesterday, the day before. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You must have noticed the pushback on eco issues. You know, and the war in Ukraine means that we can't go for net zero anymore. And all these people coming up on the news who previously have expressed zero interest in the plight of the little people, now they're all about, we can't have the general public paying more in for their fuel with these green levies. Oh, no, that's right out. I'm very, very concerned about the little people, not leprechauns. Them having never expressed the remotest concern for anybody that is less well off than themselves. Just look at their voting record. All of those jabbering faces that come on TV and try to kid on now that they're just interested in helping people out with their bills. Please. The oil and gas industry has delivered, this is an amount that you will be stunned by if you haven't read this yet. A pure profit per day. Guess how much? That's right. £2.3 billion.
What?
A day. The oil and gas industry has delivered £2.3 billion a day in pure profit every day for the last 50 years. This total, captured by petrostates and fossil fuel companies since 1970, is $52 trillion.
What?
That's 52 with 9 zeros after it. And I'll put that into context. I'll do the seconds thing, because it's very difficult to put in your mind about what it is that we're talking about when you go into millions and billions and trillions. So this is an easy way to think about it. 1 million seconds is 12 days. 1 billion seconds is 31 years. And 1 trillion seconds is 31,688 years. That's how much money they made. $52 trillion in the last 50 years. And of course it's given the fossil fuel industry the power to buy anyone they want. Every politician, every system, the whole world over. I mean, who has got more money than they do? No one. Not even the people that make exciting ways to kill people have got that much money. That's why you probably hear so much about delaying action on climate change from shadowy groups of interested politicians and journalists. I mean, it doesn't take much to buy them off. I'm not saying they're all in the pocket, but once they hear other people say these things, then they think, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then they go off and they start repeating it. I mean, it actually doesn't take much to buy a politician, and particularly in this country, an embarrassingly small amount, actually. And the money is there to buy everyone on earth. To delay turning off the taps for oil and gas for the simple reason that it would cost a few people an unimaginably large amount of money in the short term. I mean, just imagine you're sitting on top of an industry that makes £2.3 billion a day in pure profit. How much would you spend to keep that money coming in? Remembering that for the super rich, no amount of money is remotely enough. You'd spend hundreds of millions a day to keep billions flowing in, wouldn't you? And that's what they're doing. They're doing it for more cash than they could spend in 10 lifetimes, and the victims are the other 7.7 billion people that live on this planet that's changing under our feet and over our heads. But this wall of propaganda from all directions, paid for by these people, is so loud, and enough people are persuaded that everything is fine. It's just weather. The protesters are crusties. They should all be locked up. All of that stuff. And the thing is, they're making that amount of money in a way that would get you put in jail if it was any other industry, by operating cartels that agree on price. That's illegal if you did it in any other business. But it's so legal in fossil fuels that they actually call themselves a cartel. It's like the mafia calling their their restaurant the organised crime money laundering pizzeria.
Absolutely.
I mean, the huge profits are also inflated by cartels artificially restricting supply. I mean, Uncle Joe Biden had to go to Saudi Arabia and beg them to turn on the taps. I mean, this is analysis based on World Bank data. They assess they call it the rent, secured by global oil and gas sales, which is the economic term for the unearned profit produced after the total cost of production has been deducted. So this is essentially free money. And we are daft enough to pay them to decommission oil wells that they planted in the North Sea so that they could make this money. I mean, I'm not making that up. You have paid the oil companies to decommission their oil wells. And it's not a small amount either. In 2019, the Oil and Gas Authority told the National Audit Office that the total cost of decommissioning North Sea oil and gas infrastructure could be £77 billion. HMRC's current estimate of the cost to the public through tax relief is £24 billion, including £12.9 billion in repayments of taxes previously collected. So we collected the tax and we're giving it back to them because apparently making £2.3 billion a day isn't enough, which sounds like socialism to me. But the only socialism that is allowed is for the rich. We all have a whip round and we give it to the rich. It's trickle-up economics. And emissions from this burning of fossil fuels have driven the climate crisis and contributed to extreme weather events, including the current heat waves, and oil companies have known this for decades. They've known for decades that carbon emissions were dangerously heating the planet. They've known, and they've spent a huge amount trying to keep it a secret and to turn us against people who are warning about it. There was this executive from one of the big oil companies in the States. Look it up on the internet. He actually admitted it out loud. He didn't know who he was talking to. It were journalists, I think, who were pretending to be, I can't remember what they were pretending to be, but he went through it. He said, oh, yeah, we do this and we do that, and we, he basically just admitted their entire plan. It's like the cigarette companies all over again. And next, you know what? It's going. I bet it's going to next. The next one is going to be the plastics companies selling us things that they knew were poisonous, but keeping it on the down low. I mean, there's particles of broken down plastics that have been found on every animal on land and in the sea and in the air. It's in the milk, the meat and the blood of farm animals, and in humans too. It was found in almost all the samples of human tissue that were recently analysed looking for plastics. We're literally eating and breathing plastic. How that story came and went without with that and without anybody paying any attention, I don't know. But you know what? Eventually there will be publicity, and then will come the great pushback. Coming to a location near you, plastic is good for you. And it's all about the money, honey. It's all about that.